The first time that I crocheted in the round, I was taught to make a ring of chains by chaining 3 or 4 or 5 and joining it with a slip stitch, making a ring out of your chains and then crocheting into that ring. What happens when you do that is you end up with a hole in the center of your crocheted circle, similar to this. To make this, I chained 4 and I joined them, and then I worked 10 double crochet into that ring of chains. Sometimes, though, you really don't want that hole there. Like, if you're making a hat, you may not want a hole in the center of the head, or especially if you're making amigurumi or other stuffed items, you really don't want that hole in the center. So a great technique to use is the magic ring. It's also sometimes called the magic circle or the magic loop. But when you use that, you get this really nice, tight, closed up circle. This is also 10 double crochets, but it's worked in a magic circle or a magic ring. And you see there's no hole in the center. It's nice and tight and snug. So today I'm going to really quickly show you how I do the magic ring, and I use it all the time in a lot of projects that I make. So all you're going to need is your yarn and your hook. I'm right-handed, so I hold the hook in my right hand, and I'm going to use my left hand to hold my yarn and to make my loop. There are other ways to do this. This is the way that I do it, and it works great for me. You may see other people who do it a little bit differently, but this is the technique I use. So I just hold my yarn in place and I wrap it around my finger and cross it over the top of that yarn. And then I stick my hook under, got that kind of loose, stick my hook underneath of both of the layers of yarn, and I pull up that bottom string. Now, some people at this point like to keep it on their finger and work on their finger for a few stitches so that they keep it really nice and tight there, but I prefer to just take it off my finger. If I'm going to be single crocheting, I chain 1 to start. If I'm going to be double crocheting, I chain 2, and I never count that first chain as a stitch. For this sample, I'm going to work 6 single crochets into the ring, and I'm going to work over the top of both the loop that I made as well as that tail that's left. So I'm just going to make 6 single crochet. I think that's 5 and 6. And now I've got my 6 single crochets in the loop. So all I need to do to tighten up that opening is just pull that tail. And as I pull it, it tightens up really nice and tight. And then you can just slip stitch to your first single crochet, or I got this kind of tight. Or if you're working like amigurumi that's worked in a spiral shape or spiral method, you can just keep working around. But whatever you do, you've got a really nice tight center for your project. You can find lots of projects on my blog that use this technique. 5littlemonsters.com is my blog, and I hope that this helps.